You know what this video is about. That's why you clicked on it, but I'm here for you. It's time to start figuring out how to pay back those student loans in October. Let's get to it. What's up, YouTube? I'm Debt-Free Joel. On today's video, we're going to talk about the ways you need to prepare for your student loan payments to restart. If you're new to this channel is dedicated to one thing and one thing only, which is to make you more money. Whether it be through saving, whether it be through investing, but most importantly, whether it be to being charitable. So, without further ado, and I know you guys do not want to think about this, let's start figuring out how to pay back those student loans. So where do we stand when it comes to the student loan forgiveness as well as the repayments? Well, you know that on June 30th, the Supreme Court came out and ruled against Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness program. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that, well, it was pretty obvious that that was going to happen. Now, they are working on a plan B, and whether or not that works is probably going to be another year or 2 years down the road. So the real question is, how do you start to prepare for those student loans that are coming? So here's the facts. The facts are as of September, the interest on your student loan payments, your federal student loan payments, will start to accrue again. Since 2020, your account hasn't been accruing any interest. So if you were one of the fortunate people who were able to make payments during this period, great time. You were able to pay down the balance without incurring any interest. But as of September 1st, you're going to start to accrue interest. And as of October 1st, you're going to have to start making payments. So what's the first thing you should do to prepare for those payments? Well, the first thing is make sure you can log on and you know the information that you need to do to make those payments. So what do I mean by that? Review your account. You should be able to have either the login information, the password, get on that website, make sure you're familiar with that website. Look at the historical payments that you made back in 2019. Look, my memory shot is just as good as yours, right? So I don't remember what I did yesterday, let alone what I paid back in 2019. So go back, look at the historical payments on your account and see what you were paying, whether it be 300, 400, whatever it was. That's probably going to be a good plug number as to what you're going to be expected to pay as of October 1st. Now, when you look at that number, see if there's any adjustments that you made over the years or whatever the case is. But that number that you were paying back in 2019, back in 2018, is probably going to be the number that you're going to be paying going forward. So the first tip, make sure you can log on, make sure you got your password, make sure you know how the website works, and also make sure that you have a plug amount for what you think you're going to be paying for those student loans. Now, the second thing you need to do, well, if you've been following my channel for a while, you knew this was coming. You need to be on a budget. Yes, just because you know that the payment's going to be $300 or $400, at least that's what you're estimating, you don't know if you can afford it. And chances are, if you're watching this video, you damn sure know you can't afford it. But jokes aside, one of the first things you want to do is, or at least the second thing, is build your budget. Right? Make sure that you have your income minus your expenses. And I mean all your expenses. Everything down from the mortgage to Netflix. Include everything on your budget and include as well the student loan payments. When you look at that budget, chances are you're not going to be happy. Because what a lot of people did since the pandemic is they took the student loan payments and they paid other things. Whether they paid down their credit cards, whether they bought a house, whether they had kids. Guys, we're talking about almost 4 years ago that you were taking this type of money and using it for something else. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just life. So what you want to do is work out your budget, include that number that you figured out in step one. Again, look at the historical payments you paid back in 2019, 2018, and use that number as an estimate as to what you think that number is going to be going forward, and work out your budget. Now, if you don't like what's on your budget, one of the first things you're going to have to do is cut back. I know, this is not the video you want to see, but it's the truth. The truth is you're going to have to look at your budget, see what you can afford, and cut back. If there's any expenses that you've incurred over the years that you can cut back on, cut back. Live below your means. Make sure that you're still trying to save. Make sure that you're still trying to, adjust for your 401k allocation, whatever it is. But these payments are coming. Okay, I know the obvious, most frustrating answer is going to be, well, I'm not paying. I get it, but you need to be on a budget, right? Because that's not going to be an acceptable answer. So make sure that whatever the number is that you're looking at in step one, you fit that into your budget for step two. And if that budget doesn't work out the way you want, then it's time for you to start looking at your budget and seeing what you can cut back on. All right, so step 2, create a budget, plug in that number from step 1, and figure out what you can afford. And if you can't afford it, make sure you start to cut back and see what expenses you can move out the way, delete, whatever the case is, so that you can start making those payments. So let's say, for example, you know what the payment is and you try to fit it into your budget, but it doesn't work. No matter how much you cut, it doesn't work. Well, the third option that you can look into, at least from a student loan repayment program, is forbearance. Look, forbearance is not exactly the greatest thing you want to do, and let me explain. I'm being completely honest with you. The problem with forbearance is that, number one, your interest is still going to accrue regardless if you're making payments or not. So what that means is that if your account is in forbearance, your balance is going to grow every single month based on the interest that they charge you because you're not paying it. The second is that your credit score can take a hit, because what happens is that the lenders are looking at the fact that you're not able to make your debt obligations, and because you're not able to make your debt obligations on time, your account takes a hit in terms of your credit score. So forbearance should be the last thing that you're considering. Now, to be fair to the Biden administration, they are allowing a 1-year runway so that you can get up to speed with your payments. So what does that mean? That basically means that the Biden administration is going to allow you at least 1 year. So think about from October 1st to about, September 31st of next year or 30th of next year. To, if you miss a payment, for example, it doesn't go against your credit score. It doesn't hit you from a delinquency standpoint. It's going to allow people, quote unquote runway to get their money right, to get their budget right, to see how they can make these payments, right? So you have at least 1 year to kind of figure out your budget. It's a way for you to have forbearance without having forbearance. So what I would do if I was in your situation is, number one, I wouldn't go for forbearance now. What I would do is, if I can't payment, if I can't make any type of payments, or if I can make minimal payments or whatever the case is, you can miss a few months and it won't go against your credit score, at least from what the Biden administration is. Interest is still going to accrue though. So don't think that your payment or at least your student loan total amount is not going to grow. That interest is going to start accruing from September, and that's it. But if you're not able to make the payments for whatever reason, you need about a couple more months to be able to do so, then you're not going to necessarily take any hits for the next year, at least from October to September of next year of 2024, specifically because the Biden administration is giving you a break. But if you went into forbearance, please understand if that's something that you're considering. Number one, interest is going to accrue. Number two, your credit score will likely take a hit at some time, and we all know we don't want our credit scores to take a hit. So that's the third thing to consider. Let's say you went on the website, you looked at the username, you looked at your password, you looked at your prior history, you did your budget, and you realize you can't afford it. Well, a third option is to go into forbearance, or at least give yourself a year to figure out how you're going to make the payments. The Biden administration is not going to ding you for your credit score. But then after that, you're the one that's going to be held responsible for it. Either your credit score is going to take a hit, interest is going to start accruing. It's not going to look too good. And I'll share a bonus tip with you. Call the lender now. Like now. Here's why. Everybody is not going to be prepared to really start making those student loans. A large proportion of the American public is not going to be prepared to make those student loans. These lenders are in bad positions right now. I'm serious. They don't know how to prepare for these student loans because they've never shut off the valve as it pertains to taking student loans and then turned it back on. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for lenders. So the best thing you want to do, listen closely, the best thing you want to do is get on the phone with the lender now. Make sure that you're making the right payments, that at least you have an idea of what your payment's going to be. And then see if there's a way that you're on the right payment plan for them. Chances are they're looking into plans to make your life easier so they're not having a bunch of delinquencies on their side. They may put you on an income repayment plan. They may reduce the amount that you pay every month. Get on the phone with them now. One of the things that you can do as well is there's a loan simulator on studentaid.gov. That kind of gives you an idea as to how much you're going to be paying. So again, let's say you went to the website, your prior history website, and you looked at your payment history and it had a number on there that you don't like. Let's say you go to studentloan.gov and you actually look at the loan simulator to see how much your payment's going to be, but that doesn't work for you. Get on the phone with the lender now. Figure out if there's a way they can put you on a better payment plan. I guarantee you, I really, really guarantee you that as of the mid to late September and especially October, you're not going to be able to call your lenders. You're going to be on the phone for hours. The system's going to be crashed. Everybody's going to be pissed off. You're going to see it on the news. I'm telling you now, get ahead of it. Get on the phone with your lender. Find out if there's any type of plans that they're going to be willing to offer you now before all hell breaks loose, so that you can take advantage of any plans that they have. That, if there's anything you get from this video, is that. Call your lender, find out, make sure you know that you're on the best plan available, and chances are, maybe they can reduce your payment. And that's it. That's my time. If you like these type of videos, cool. Click the like and subscribe button. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. It's the same name as YouTube, @DebtFreeJoel. We put a ton of information out there on saving, on investing, on most importantly on being charitable. So until next time, remember, you got food at home.